Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. So, first off, just want to say thanks to those that stuck around for the options session last night. I always love the opportunities to catch up with you guys, talk options, talk trading, talk just all things, all things market related, right? So last night, able to go over just different earnings strategy that I haven't really talked about a lot. So the Rampants, the report, went over like a ton of different bio names that I'm watching for upcoming catalysts. So if you weren't able to make it, definitely go back and check that out because plenty of stuff we covered. It will still be in play over like the next month to 2 months. So even, it wasn't all just related to stuff in the past. A lot of what we covered was about things that we're looking forward to. Right. So what I want to talk about in today's video, I guess, is something that came up just I guess the last 2 weeks. I mean, this it's always something that's possible, right? When you write up like a trade idea, it's always possible that the next morning before you can get into it or you can initiate it, that there could be like a news event or maybe some big market event, right? And it'll have like a huge move away from your entrance area, right? And I suppose it's kind of unlucky. I mean, it's lucky in the sense that it's nice to know that your ideas would have worked. It's just would have been nice if we were in it, right? So, um, two weeks in a row, so 2 Mondays in a row, trade ideas for swings had significant news and gapped away from our entrances. So last week it was Microsoft. They finally announced that Jedi contract. That was the week of its earnings report. So it was the Friday, late Friday afternoon on the week that it reported earnings. That week in particular really seemed to start setting up well for a breakout, right? You could see it kind of had a nice couple day move after earnings, even though it didn't break out on the actual earnings. It seemed like it was setting up that direction. So when I wrote up the trade idea, it was basically looking for the breakout and a preliminary move up into like the 145 to 146 range. Okay, so kind of like a 5% extension through that 140. It was like say like 145 to 146, kind of in that ballpark. So like a 5% extension or so. And unfortunately, that Jedi contract, very significant, very big positive for Microsoft, and you can see that it popped and opened and hit the preliminary target at 145, 146 off the open, right? And we'll just cover Marvell real quick, and then I'll talk my way through it. But Marvell, so felt like this one was setting up well too, right? So like this is kind of like the pattern I drew up. Chips were starting to act better, right? Chips were breaking out. Marvell, kind of a pennant formation, had a really nice day Friday, right? Sector was acting strong. This is a name we've traded in the past. It's worked well. It looked like it was about ready to make a run. So I wrote up the trade idea, and then what do you know? Monday morning, stock gets upgraded by a tier one shop, and it gaps and runs, almost 8%. I mean, it basically blew through 26, almost hit 27 that session. It's continued today. But what the way I drew up the trade, it was basically like two targets. It was the September high preliminary target, and then the July high secondary target. So Marvell basically nailed, right. You can see it opened and basically nailed that September preliminary target off the open. So in both cases, both Marvell and Microsoft, the stock gapped to the preliminary target before we could initiate the trade. And to me, and everybody's going to have probably different parameters how they approach trades that kind of gap away from them or maybe move materially away from their entrances before they can get involved, right? For me, I don't mind paying up for things if they haven't hit that first target. So if there's still room to that first target, then I can still feel maybe comfortable. It's not ideal. I mean, obviously, like I want to get in when I draw up the trade, but like it's not ideal. But to me, it says that there's still some room because it hasn't hit that preliminary target yet. But when a stock gaps or maybe hits that first target range for your trade before you can even get involved, like that to me is like the point where I'm like, okay, you know, as much as like I like this idea, it's just not worth it. I feel like I'm chasing already like my first target played out, so it just seems like it's better just to leave it alone. Maybe wait for a new setup, right? Maybe just take it off your screen because sometimes it can be really frustrating to me if it's an idea I had works out perfectly and I'm not involved, right? So to me, usually like the point where I just say like that's it. I'm not going to pay up for this is when it hits that preliminary target and I'm not involved. Okay, but if there's room still to like that first target, so say like Marvell had only opened up at like 25.50, right? So maybe it only opened up like 2%, so like 50 cents or so, and there's still about like a dollar to that preliminary target. Okay, that's fine. All right, it moved away from my initial entrance area, but there's still room to that first target. So yes, I gotta like maybe like adjust the contracts, maybe pay up more for the contracts I initially wanted, but there's still room there, right? But because it blew through all sorts of different levels and hit that target before the trade could even be started, then I'm like, you know what, it's better to let this one go. Don't want to chase it. And then the same thing with Microsoft, right? That's why we backed off of Microsoft because it hit that 145, 146 area. Had it opened up like maybe like around 140, 150, 142, then that still leaves like 3, maybe 4 points to that preliminary target. Obviously, it didn't. So as much as like I like the idea, to me it just made more sense to just leave it alone. All right. So if you're wondering, because I'm just in the past 2 weeks, this has popped up a couple times. So if you're wondering like what like my parameters are for when I'll adjust contracts and maybe pay up for them versus just leaving it alone entirely, those are kind of like my guidelines, all right? So I just wanted to like talk my way through that just because this is something that came about. Actually, I don't think that we've had a scenario like that in a few months prior to this, so it's just kind of odd that it was back-to-back weeks now. All right. So if you have any questions or comments about anything I covered today or maybe anything I covered in last night's option session, definitely reach out. I love to hear from you guys. If you like these videos and you want maybe more trade ideas, so specific trade ideas, maybe like education, follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information about options to play. All right. Have a great night. Best of luck with all of your trades, and I will talk to you